We were in the backyard, the cheap folding tables stacked with potato salad, paper plates, sticky soda bottles sweating in the August heat. A barbecue that smelled of burned burgers and forced laughter. I was picking at my ribs, mostly just trying to stay invisible, when Grandma leaned over, her grin bright and triumphant. "Your car loan's paid," she beamed, patting my hand like I was 5 again. 12 grand. That's no joke, honey. I blinked, ribs halfway to my mouth. What? She nodded, pleased with herself. "I wanted to surprise you. I know you've been stressed. You don't need to worry about it anymore." But the world spun sideways. Because I didn't have a car loan. I didn't even own a car. My name is Jenna. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. I tried to swallow around the panic in my throat. "Grandma," I said carefully, I don't have a car." The entire table fell silent, forks clinking against plates, the summer heat suddenly too heavy. And then, as if the universe needed to twist the knife deeper, my sister strolled through the gate, swinging a brand new set of car keys on a bright red lanyard. Everyone turned, grinning, clapping, like a queen had arrived. And I knew right then, with that sick, dropping feeling in my gut. The loan was in my name. The payments had come from my accounts. The new car was hers. My sister, who'd wrecked 3 cars in 2 years, who'd been banned from financing after defaulting twice, had found her newest mark. Me. I couldn't even taste the barbecue anymore. For 2 hours, I smiled through it. I watched them fawn over her. I watched her brag about taking road trips. I watched Mom say, "We're so proud of you," like I didn't even exist. When I got home that night, hands shaking, I opened my loan app. And there it was. 12 grand. Cleared. Closed. My credit, hijacked, scrubbed out to give her a fresh ride. I was still reeling, breathing like someone had punched me in the ribs, when Grandma texted around 2 a.m. "Come outside. I have something you need to see." She met me in the driveway, rummaging in that old leather purse of hers. Slowly, she pulled out a manila folder, thick with papers, and slid it into my hands. My phone started buzzing a second later. Then again. And again. Exploding with messages from my sister, from my parents, even my dad, who barely texted me twice a year. I had a feeling the folder was about to blow, everything wide open. Grandma stood there in the driveway under the weak porch light, her face lined and drawn in a way I'd never seen before. "Open it," she urged, her voice tight. No trace of that warm backyard barbecue grin left. My fingers were trembling so badly I could barely flip the flap. Inside were pages and pages of printed statements, bank wires, loan signatures, insurance forms, all with my name on them. My name, my social, my signature. Except I'd never signed any of it. My stomach turned to ice. "They forged it, Jenna," Grandma whispered, voice breaking. "They used your details for her car and then paid it off with your credit so no one would notice." My ears rang. The world shrank down to just me, the folder, and the distant hum of night traffic on our street. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even blink. They stole from me. It wasn't even about the money, not really. It was about how casual they were about selling my name, about gambling with my entire future just to keep my sister rolling in a new ride. Grandma was watching me, guilt shining in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I should have asked more questions when she needed a cosigner. She told me you approved it." My knees nearly buckled. She'd roped Grandma in, too. "Why did you bring this to me?" I rasped, voice barely there. Grandma drew in a shaky breath. "Because your sister said you'd be fine with it." But the more I thought about it, the more I knew that couldn't be right. I sank down onto the porch steps, the folder heavy in my lap. I felt my phone buzz again, screen lighting up with a flood of new messages. "Why did you tell Grandma? You're such a drama queen. If you ruin this for me, I will never forgive you." I read them through a haze, hands gone completely numb. They thought I'd just stay quiet. Smile. Let them keep draining me until there was nothing left. I looked up at Grandma, something raw and new cracking open in my chest. "I'm done," I whispered. "I am done." And in that moment, I meant it more than I had ever meant anything in my life. Grandma nodded, tears brimming. Good, she said. It's about damn time. I clutched the folder to my chest like a weapon. They'd underestimated me for the last time. I sat on those splintery porch steps until my legs went pins and needles numb, rereading the stolen loan paperwork over and over. Every signature was a twisted, shaky attempt to copy my name. Every payment confirmation was a hammer to my chest. Every lie was spelled out in hard black ink. It was like seeing my entire identity stripped and sold. Grandma put a trembling hand on my shoulder. If you want me to talk to them, I will, she offered. I'm the one who helped push it through. I'll stand up for you. I shook my head, my jaw locking in a way that felt brand new, powerful. No, I breathed. They need to hear it from me. I stood, the folder heavy in my hands, and went back into the house. The place was dark except for a hallway nightlight. I could still smell barbecue sauce and old charcoal in the air, which somehow made the whole thing feel even more surreal. My phone kept vibrating in my pocket, more messages, piling up, their panic growing by the second. I opened the group chat with my parents and sister, the one they'd used all week to plan my sister's celebration barbecue, talking about her new car, the one I apparently bought. I took a photo of the folder's first page, the forged signature clear as day, and sent it, no caption, no explanation. Then I waited. Less than a minute later, the group chat lit up like a forest fire. What is that? Where did you get that? Why are you being so ungrateful? Ungrateful. I almost choked. Ungrateful for what? For being robbed? My sister tried to call, but I let it ring. Dad sent a wall of texts so long my phone glitched trying to load it. It's family, Jenna. Sometimes you help family. Stop acting like you're so high and mighty.
Family.
The word rang in my ears like a cruel joke. I scrolled through the rage pouring out of the group chat, each word confirming the truth. They didn't care what they'd taken. They only cared that I might stand up for myself. For the first time, I felt a calm, icy focus settle over me. They wanted a battle?
Fine.
They'd get one. I set the folder down on the table, took a steady breath, and started making a list. Contact the credit bureau. File a police report for identity theft. Lock every account. Freeze my credit. My hands were still shaking, but it was a different kind of shaking now, not fear, but adrenaline. They'd spent years counting on my silence. This time I was going to be loud. By the next morning, I'd barely slept, but I was moving like a machine. I changed every password I owned, put hard fraud alerts on all 3 credit bureaus, and called my bank to freeze anything tied to my name. The loan officer on the other end listened, stunned, as I laid out what happened. Ma'am, you're saying the signatures were forged? Yes, I said calmly. And I want a fraud investigation opened. Today. They took notes, stumbling over apologies. I was done accepting apologies. When I hung up, my phone was blowing up again, a chain of missed calls and voice messages from my sister, then Mom, then Dad, over and over. I listened to one just to remind myself why I was doing this. My sister, practically shrieking, "How could you drag Grandma into this? She wanted to help me. You're being disgusting, Jenna. You always ruin everything." I squeezed the phone so tight my knuckles went white. Ruining everything? They had taken my name, my credit, my sense of safety, and passed it around like a spare napkin at a picnic. And I was the one ruining everything? I almost laughed. By noon, a police officer was at my door, taking my statement, politely shocked that it was my own family who had stolen my identity. He flipped through the folder Grandma gave me, jaw tight. They really signed all this in your name? Yes. Did you ever agree to it?
No.
His eyes hardened. Okay, we'll investigate. After he left, I sat in the silence of my tiny apartment, the hum of the fridge the only sound in the world. I should have felt alone. I should have felt lost. But I didn't. Because finally, I was standing up for myself. Finally, I was saying no. A message came through from Mom, heavy with that guilt-dripping poison I knew so well. This is a family matter. Don't drag strangers into it. We can fix this privately. Privately. Meaning, in the dark. Quiet. So no one has to see what they did.
No.
Not this time. If exposing them burned every bridge, then let it burn. Because if I let this go, what next? My house. My name? My entire life? I closed my eyes, drew a deep breath, and hit block on every one of their numbers. Then I took a sip of cold coffee, feeling my shoulders drop for the first time in weeks. They had always expected me to stay small. This time, I was going to take up every inch of space they stole from me. I sat there after blocking them, letting the silence wrap around me like a new kind of armor. No more emergency guilt trips. No more. You owe us. No more being the family doormat. They'd built a kingdom on my name, and I was tearing it down brick by brick. By evening, I got a call from the fraud department, a kind woman named Yvonne with a voice like steel wrapped in velvet. "We've frozen the payout," she confirmed. "The money cannot be moved until the signatures are verified. There will be an investigation." I nearly burst into tears, a knot of tension breaking loose from my chest. "Thank you," I whispered, voice shaking. "Thank you so much." She paused, like she could sense the whole story behind my words. "I see this more than you'd think," she said gently. "Sometimes family is the worst kind of thief." I had to swallow hard to keep from crying. After we hung up, I stared around my apartment paid for with my own money, under my own name, no one else's hands on the lease, and felt a wave of fierce pride. No one would take that from me. Not again. My phone stayed quiet, but my sister's social media was a circus. Photos of her with a new car, boasting about dreams coming true. Comments from relatives. "You deserve it, girl." So proud. I wanted to scream, but I didn't, because I knew the bomb was ticking. The moment the fraud hold hit, the repo company would come for that car. Her dream was built on a lie, and it was going to crumble. I tried to feel sorry for her. I really did. But all I felt was a deep, exhausted relief. Around midnight, Dad broke through by calling from a block number. Against my better judgment, I answered. His voice was like ice, calculated, dangerous. "You think you're clever?" he spat. "You're humiliating this family, Jenna. Your sister will lose everything." I steadied my breath, shoulders squared. "I didn't take anything from her," I replied calmly. "She took it from me." He went silent. I could practically hear his rage simmering through the phone. "You always were the ungrateful one," he snarled. "Don't bother coming around again." My heart slammed hard, but I held steady. "Good," I whispered. "Because I won't." Then I ended the call, breathing like I'd just climbed a mountain. If cutting me off was the price of freedom, I'd pay it 1,000 times over. The days after felt strangely quiet, like the world had stopped spinning just for me to catch my breath. I kept waiting for the next shoe to drop, a furious knock on my door, another guilt-soaked voicemail, another rant about how I'd betrayed them. But nothing came. It was like they'd finally realized I wasn't going to bend this time. The fraud report went through, official and final, signed by my own trembling hand in blue ink. The investigator had kind, sorry eyes as I explained what happened, how my sister had forged my signature, how they'd all celebrated behind my back while hooking me into a $12,000 chain. I expected him to judge me, to wonder how I'd let it happen. But he just nodded, sad and knowing. "Families do this more than you think," he told me. "Especially to the reliable ones." The reliable one. That was me, wasn't it? The one who kept things afloat, paid the bills, calmed the fights, made everyone else look good while I lived off leftovers. I felt something hot and angry burn through my chest. No more. He left with a copy of the folder, promising me the car loan would be permanently flagged, no damage to my credit. When the door closed behind him, I slumped against it, tears finally breaking loose. Grief and rage and relief tangled up in a single breath. I walked to the mirror and looked at myself. My eyes were puffy, skin dull, hair pulled back in a tired ponytail. But under all of that, there was something harder, something cleaner. Resolve. They might hate me forever, but I had chosen myself. I had put up a wall that no one was going to climb again. That night, my sister tried one last shot, messaging me from a brand new number. "You've ruined me. Are you happy now?" I read it, staring at the words until they blurred. And then I deleted it without replying. Because no, I wasn't happy. This wasn't happy. But it was right. I curled up on my couch with a blanket, let the TV play something mindless, and let my phone stay dark and silent. For the first time in my life, no one could reach me. No one could steal from me. No one could decide for me what family meant. And even if I was alone, even if it stung like hell, it was still the freest I had ever felt. 2 days later, the fallout finally arrived. I was sipping cheap instant coffee, scrolling mindlessly through social media, when I saw it. My sister's shiny new car being loaded onto a tow truck, the metallic red paint glinting in the sun like some cruel joke. She was standing on the curb, screaming at the repo man, hair a mess, tears streaking through her makeup. Mom was beside her, arms flailing, voice raised so high I could almost hear it through the photo. The entire neighborhood had gathered to watch, a perfect audience for the destruction they'd tried so hard to hide. I couldn't look away. Part of me, the old, bleeding heart part, ached for the scene, the public humiliation, the raw panic on my sister's face. But another part of me, deeper, older, wiser, felt a grim sense of justice. They had gambled with my name. They'd lost. And now the world could see the consequences. My phone buzzed again, breaking the spell. A fresh message from Dad, this time short and venomous. "Are you proud? You destroyed your sister." I stared at it, calm and cold. Destroyed her?
No.
She destroyed herself. And if their definition of family was asking me to torch my own credit, my own future, my own life so they could parade around looking perfect, then I wanted no part of it. I didn't even answer. Instead, I went to my desk, took out a fresh notebook, and started writing down everything I wanted to do now.
Take a solo trip.
Buy a used car under my name. Apply for the grad school I'd always put off. Finally decorate my own apartment, just for me. No more sacrificing my dreams so they could build theirs.
It was terrifying.
It was glorious. Later that night, Grandma called, her voice soft and shaken. "I'm sorry, Jenna," she whispered. "I should have seen what they were doing sooner." My throat closed up, but I held steady. "It's not your fault," I told her gently. "They were always going to find someone to use." A pause. "I'm proud of you," Grandma said, voice breaking, "for standing up for yourself." For the first time, I let myself believe it. "Thanks, Grandma." I breathed, tears spilling hot and silent. "Me too." I hung up and let the quiet surround me, a peace so sharp it almost hurt. Let them hate me. Let them call me heartless. I wasn't theirs to steal from anymore. By the end of the week, the dust had finally settled. The repo company confirmed the car was returned to the dealership. The loan, now flagged as fraudulent, was wiped clean from my record. My credit was safe, stronger than ever, and for the first time I felt like I actually owned my name. The family group chat went dead silent. No apologies, no explanations, just a flat, cold silence that spoke volumes. I thought maybe I'd miss them. Maybe I'd miss my sister's fake laughs, my parents' constant chatter about family parties and matching Christmas pajamas. But I didn't, because I knew now what that family had cost me. Years of debt. Years of putting myself last. Years of being expected to give until there was nothing left. No more. On Friday, I went to the bank, withdrew a chunk of savings, and did something I never thought I'd have the guts to do. I walked straight to a used car lot and bought my own car. No cosigners. No one's name, but mine on the title. Just me. It was a beat-up Corolla with a scratch on the bumper, but when I turned the key, I felt freer than I ever had in my life. I sat behind the wheel, windows down, letting the wind whip through my hair, and I laughed, a wild, raw, real laugh that tasted like freedom. My phone stayed silent. No more demands, no more guilt, no more voice notes telling me how worthless I was if I didn't serve them. I was alone, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever felt. That night, I curled up on my own couch in my own apartment, lit by a single lamp, and stared at the blank wall where I'd once taped family photos.
They were gone now.
In their place, I pinned up a single sticky note in bright pink marker. I am enough. Because I was. Because I always had been. And the next time someone tried to make me forget that, I'd remember the smell of those burned burgers, my sister's brand new keys, the panic in their voices at 2 a.m., and I'd remember the lesson they never thought I'd learn. They could only